Yo,
What's
What's
up?
up? We just went live.
cool,
Okay.
cool. So,
Yep. All right. So here we are. We got through Fall Brawl. That was, in my opinion, a huge success. That was a lot of fun. We immediately started planning and started working after everybody took a bit of a break. But for Battle for the South. So this will be what, the third annual Battle for the South coming up?
Third annual. Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of work that needs to be done. Already got some sponsors signed off on this. But I mean, I know we kind of rehash the same things, but what can we kind of expect coming up?
Uh, our normal thing for Battle for the South. It's going to be a Gryphon Group. Um, I haven't chosen every single area yet because we have a couple of areas that we might want to maybe venture into that we found during the build for Memorial that we may want to use. We got to kind of look at them and just see if they're going to play out for us, just to change some things up. Um, Typical of what we normally do for Battle for the South. They won't be the same
yo,
length. What's
What's
up?
up? We just went live.
yo, cool,
Okay. What's
What's
up?
up? We
cool.
just went live. God damn it.
Cool.
Okay. Well, what you got going on, Matt?
No, I was looking at stuff. I went over to a different screen and yeah, it just
All
kind
right.
of started it just started playing the audio and it was just like, what the fuck?
It's not me. I didn't do
No, that was total of me.
it.
um, so the stages will be like they have been the past 2 years, averaging somewhere around 45 targets or 45 shots per stage, 35 to 45 shots per stage, averaging. There might be a stage or two, depending on the reset and timing, that might have a little more or a little less, depending. Um, 1 to 2 stage or 2 stages at least that will go out to at minimum 565 like we have before. Of course, they're going to be 3 to 4 MOA targets. Anything at 565 is going to be a 4 MOA target. Um, Depending on where we can go, we might go to 600, but it's probably still going to be limited about 565. Um, then we'll have 2 stages that go between, the long range, if you will be between 200 and 400, and then the other stages will be, the three gun jungle run, the all shotgun jungle run, a couple bay stages. It really just depends on what areas we decide to use when we get out there. I mean, I know the place pretty well, but it really just comes to getting out there and looking at the areas and saying, "Hey, what do we want to put here? What can we do different?" Um, and still throw down a good match. So that's pretty much what you can expect. I don't know that we're going to do a driving stage this year, just because I'm running out of ways to do driving stages. Um, I'm not saying we're not going to do it. I'm saying I just don't plan on it, unless it's just something when we sit down and we start building these stages and we say, "Hey, we want to have this, and
Well,
we think it's good for the match to have it."
I mean, I think it's kind of notorious to expect a driving stage from Zoo City now to have that. So, I mean, is it something new? No, not necessarily, but it's the one time a year you can go to a match and you can expect a driving stage, whether it's on a trailer
2 times a year.
two times a year, Memorial and Battle for the South.
Hmm.
So, whether you're inside of a vehicle on a trailer, I think people are kind of expect that, especially going down to Gryphon Group. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have. Something that we could further discuss. It's just something that's fun and it adds a different element. I mean, what do you think, buddy?
um, I'm torn. I don't want us to I don't want our match to become where everybody kind of knows what we're going to do each time, but I do enjoy the driving stages also. If we can figure out some way to make it so that it's kind of new, maybe we do that. But if we can't, then maybe we don't do it for 1 year and we bring it back next year. I
Hmm.
mean, I know people kind of really do like those stages, and I think they're a lot of fun. But we don't want we definitely don't want it to get stale. And one thing that I think we talk about that we're really going to strive for, especially with the way the weather usually is at Battleford South, is we're gonna try to split it up again like we did last year, where you'll have everybody shoots 2 long range stages a day, so that you don't have like one group that shoots three long range stages in really bad wind, and then another group only shoots 1 long range stage in really bad wind. So to keep the competitive equity as best as we can, we're going to strive to have it set up that way.
No, that's
Yeah,
good.
that was a really good idea Buddy had last year with that, and it worked out really well. And I've got a lot of compliments from competitors on that because it's true. You never know. I think 2 weeks ago they had out of the airport they had 50-mile-per-hour winds when that storm come through. It averages 15 to 25 out there on a daily basis. It's very rare that there's not any wind out there.
Yeah. Now, I know I was kind of jaded with long range, but that was kind of my own fault, and I kind of realized it after the fact. But no, I mean, I think you kind of have that perfect balance whenever it comes to long range. There's going to be some long range heavy stuff, so it's kind of a know your hold kind of game, but it's fun, and it brings that confidence boost whenever you have to. When you have 9 targets out there and they're set up in a sequential order, but it gives you varying degrees of, hey, do I want to go near to far, left to right, right to left? How do I want to shoot these? And just the layout of it, it's just really fun.
Yeah, we're not going to have a stage just for timing. There won't be a stage like Fall Brawl where you'll have 9 long range targets. Fall Brawl is kind of unique in that sense, in that we can build a stage and still have 9 long range targets as well. Battle for the South, there will be between 4 and maybe 6 long range targets, just for timing. It's a timing thing. Depending on how the stage is set up and what we decide to do, what apparatuses we decide to use out there, it'll be between 4 and 6. Just because, like I said, it's timing. For us, everything is timing. And running AM PM, we've got to make sure timing is on point.
And speaking of timing, like when you come up with the stage, and I know there's multiple different elements of that stage, whether it's rifle, pistol, shotgun, going into long range. Um, at Fall Brawl, it was a 182nd par time. I want to
No, it
say,
was 200.
or 200 par time. For 4 to 5 long range targets, after doing whatever other stuff you do, are you going to keep it at 120 or 180, or is it really
It's
going to
all of
situation?
them are 180.
Yeah,
We don't do varying times. Every stage is the same timeout.
just
I try to make every stage as best I can as close in time. It's kind of hard to do when some of them are base stages and some of them are long range, but they may not be the same time when you're shooting them, as far as it may take you 90 seconds to shoot, a base stage, and it may take you 120 seconds to shoot a long range stage. But the reset and everything for timing wise, as far as the movement of the squad, is where it balances itself out. So it may take you longer to shoot a long range stage, but it'd be less reset. So the timing becomes the same as if you're shooting a base stage, but you can't reset that base stage until you're done shooting. So we try to build the stage based off of that. But having a standard 180-second par time kind of sets the standard across the board. When you start varying par times, you got one squad that'll come up there and crush it, or whatever the case may be, or every squad will come up there and shoot your 100 or your 90-second par time and just blast through that. Then you're stacked up behind 160 or 180-second par time on the next stage, and now you're creating a backup and you're creating an accordion effect that's going to affect the whole match. So we try not to do that. And if we do that, we build it to the point where the reset is going to take up your time, not the shooting. We don't do that to penalize the shooter. We do that because it's just a timing thing. We have to make sure that the timing lines up so there is no accordion effect. That way you don't get to a stage and you sit there for 45 minutes to an hour waiting on the squad to get done in front of you.
yeah.
That's one of the big things as a match director you have to take into account is timing of, how each stage is going to run in inside of that, how it's going to be reset, and then the movement from stage to stage to stage.
And we've had a pretty good handle on that in the last couple matches where we flush it out with the RO shoot. We kind of figure out what the times are going to take, and we've managed to keep it pretty right where we need to be. I don't think we've had a big backup stage in a while.
We haven't. We've done pretty good the past 3 matches. Memorial, aside from Memorial, but I think we figured out Memorial as far as timing wise. But for our matches, we figured out the timing, and we haven't changed anything. Our staff match is different from our main match in the sense that the staff shoots their own match and then the main match shoots their match. But we haven't changed anything within the match from the RO match to the main match. We haven't changed any targets in the past, at least 2 matches. We haven't changed anything. Yeah. And I don't think I changed anything at Memorial either. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Not this year.
But it's always good to have that. It's always good to have that in your back pocket if you have to.
If we
discover something that we goof up on, then we can go in and make an adjustment before the main match starts.
Correct. But we've done a good job of kind of mitigating those issues. It helps. I got Buddy to come behind me and look things over. I've got, somebody like Bob Osbeck or some of the other guys coming out there and just looking over what we've done and giving their opinion. And, Max Kogler and Sean Donnelly and Dave Hoeing and all them coming in, giving their, insights and thoughts and, trying to reel me in and keep me on my, leash so I don't get too far out there when building. Because I start building and I see this, I see some things. I'm like, oh man, it'd be great if we did this. Oh man, it'd be great if we did this. And then it starts adding up, and we have a 6-minute long stage. So I have to kind of be reeled in a little bit because I like to shoot. And when I'm building stages, I build it because I see it as something I would like to shoot. And it's I have to reel myself in sometimes, and they help reel me in when it comes to that. So
I get a question whenever it comes to designing stages and whenever you want to introduce something new. How do you introduce a new piece of equipment whenever you get it?
So it's interesting you asked that because we're getting ready to do that. JK has I don't know which one he has, but it's one of the red stitch targets. It's the double-headed spinning star. I don't know if it's the 5 or the 3.
The Helix Mag Star.
Yep, we're gonna mess around with it. It's not gonna be an hour match. It's gonna be somewhere else. But it's a new apparatus that we're gonna introduce at some point. But we're gonna make some minor modifications to it to where it's. I don't want to give away too much, but we're gonna make some minor changes to it and make it hopefully a playable, interesting target. I'm not sure with the magnets how well it's going to do with the vibrations that it might get, but we're going to try it. We're gonna build some things to it and add some things to it and kind of play with it. But getting to your point and your question, what we'll do is typically what we do, given i.e. the Death Star, is we take it and we put it in our local matches. So we vet it in our local matches for about 2 or 3 matches to make sure to work out through all the bugs and everything like that. I know not all match directors have local matches, so it's hard to do. But when we like to introduce new things, that's what I do. I vet it during our local matches. It just works out the kinks and the bugs, and then that way we're not during the match creating a backup, again, timing, by having to fix or adjust or alter or fabricate something for it. We've got redundancies in place. We know what it's going to do. We know what it's not going to do. And so we're pretty good at testing our equipment out before we throw it out there. We had during the staff match, we had some issues at Memorial and at Fall Brawl with some of our clay throwers. They just kept wanting to break. And I don't know if it was clays or if the clay throwers just weren't quite at the right angle, or they just got bent because we've been using them. They're really cheap. They're only like $25, but they work great when they are working great. And I had to figure out at Memorial, one of them wasn't level. So once I got it to level, it didn't break anymore. Threw them perfectly every time.
And fall,
But
it just wasn't tight enough.
it wasn't tight enough. One of them wasn't tight enough. It had loosened up, and it was as simple as the little carriage bolt just came a little bit loose, and it was making a gyration like this when it would throw, and it was enough to throw it a little off balance and crack them. And we've worked through that. We figured it out, and now I know. So now that'll be one of our checklist things going into the next, our next matches. So it's just finding these little bugs and these little things that we do and working through it. The main match, I mean, you're going to have, I don't care where you go, you're going to have clays that break when they throw, just from, fractures or whatever the case may be. But I would say during the main match, most of them ran at a probably 95% rate.
I think it was just my squad that had to deal with it at Fall Brawl, where it was like,
you were one of the first squads, I think.
Yes, we were. I think stage 10, because that
Stage
was
10.
that
10.
was, we were the second, or that was like our second stage to go on, something like that.
Yeah.
And no, that was our third stage of the match. That was our third stage of the match, because we started on the other side and then we came to that. No, that was our first stage of the morning.
That was your first stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it happened. We identified it. You got called. It got taken care of. And kind of, going into it, how, when a clay does break like that, and I know we're kind of going into some other aspects of this conversation, but I think it's just kind of good information to have, especially if people are going to be coming out and wanting to know stuff. If a situation like that happens where you are running a stage and then a clay thrower activates, the clay breaks on release, how are you handling situations like that?
In a situation like that, it's just shoot at it. At the end of the day, it's kind of penalizes the shooter. What if that shooter, and I know one of the shooters did, or maybe it was you, I don't know who it was, had a great stage, and that is one of the last apparatuses you're shooting out of an entire stage that you just shot for 110, 115 seconds, and you have to reshoot a stage because RO says it's a stage malfunction. Now you have to reshoot the stage, and that's kind of fucky a little bit with a disappearing target like that. My opinion and what we're going to institute is just shoot over if it breaks in the air, because they are, like I said, whether the apparatus is operating at 100% efficiency, the clays still could have a fracture in it and break when it throws. That's something we can't control. So it's one of those competitor equities, and the tie goes to the runner on that. And I don't think the competitor should be penalized by having to reshoot if a throwing clay like that breaks.
And we'll change that up in our rule book. I'll do a rule book.
Well, I think me and Jason have been also scrubbing the rule book, for about a month now.
Yeah.
Which we won't get into those, but Jason was like, "Hey, Matt, I want you to be extremely nitpicky with this rule book and tell me exactly what you see." And I think I only saw 3 things, just like making happy to glad. And that was one of the things that I saw. I was like, hey, we need to define this in there. And
yeah,
I mean, other than that, I think the rule books, I look at rule books as living documents. Like you should constantly trying to find ways to improve upon it, but not making it so cumbersome to where you're gonna have a hard finding anything in there.
And
it should change with the times.
Yeah. And after each match, we there's been little adjustments that we've done almost after every match, just for little things that we notice that we need to make updates for. It's kind of a work in progress, like we talk about.
Yeah.
And we're constantly trying to keep up with the times and what people want, what the sport demands, or what they would like to see.
I think one of the biggest updates that you made, honestly, is last year was like bringing back heavy division, and I would say heavy division is probably the biggest, your heavy division is probably the biggest it is around the entire country. And I think partly in due to the
Mm,
shit talking
Texas.
between, yeah,
Texas is
but
bigger, but it's not
it
going to be as
comes.
big this year.
No. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I know the shit talking and it started with Patrick Beckham. Um, but you kind of modified the rules to where, hey, instead of 45, let's do 40. You know, it's not the traditional where it has been in the past where you have to use a pump action shotgun. You can use an auto loader, and you are accommodating to the times that we're living in now.
And we try, but at the end of the day, people don't want to shoot it, and if they don't want to shoot it, they don't want to shoot it. I know they do it for the shit talking purposes of it and the competitiveness of them in that shit talking, but I don't think this year they're gonna do it like they did last year. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I know a few of them have signed up for modified, and I think JK's he's still in TAC Ops. I think Patrick signed up for heavy. I think oh god, this is gonna sound horrible. Uh, I think Asian Pat is signed up for for heavy as well, and
Which is different than old Pat.
Yeah.
Because we got
then
old
old
Pat.
Pat. Yeah, old Pat's not signed up for heavy. He's shooting
Back.
modified,
Oh, that's
but
racist.
and he's staff. He's staff. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what these guys do. They're still bantering back and forth. They have their own little things now. When the linchpin gets back into town from his vacation, he'll probably get them all together. When Matt gets back in town, he'll either wrangle them all
Wrangle 'em
together,
and
or they won't shoot it at all. So
Yeah.
it'll be, I think that'll
uh,
be the deciding factor.
I
Um,
I
I know
think
Matt Kalish would do it.
I think other Matt is, set on modified though. I think that's
Yeah,
you know
we'll see. We'll see what he
if
does. I think he wants to push modified. So yeah, I think he's wanting to do it. Um, yeah, I think he's wanting to do that. But he would probably jump on the board, the bandwagon too again if everybody did. Maybe I don't know. I can't. I don't want to speak for him, so I don't really know what he would do. But I know he's pretty much the linchpin. So they'll if he starts talking trash to everybody, they'll jump on board.
There you
Mhm.
go.
Um, but yeah, as far as but getting back on the subject, real quick, we are changing Fall Brawl a little bit. Fall Brawl is actually going to have a change of venue. We have been working on this for a little bit now, and we are going to be moving it to Coleman's Creek, which is outside of Rockingham, which is about 29 miles from Gryphon Group. It's west of Gryphon Group. Still in North Carolina. It is, if you look up Rockingham, not Rockingham County, but Rockingham, it is near Rockingham. It's in Ellerby, North Carolina. It's north of Rockingham by about 12 minutes.
Is that near like some other
If you
speedway?
Rockingham Motor Speedway, yep, it's near that. They're a range that has we used to do night matches there before we did them at Gryphon Group, or before Sherb did them at Gryphon Group. And it is a tremendous facility. I think it's about 1,500 plus acres. They do a lot of PRS stuff there. And so we are going to do the first 3-gun match there. It'll be the same time as Fall Brawl, but it's going to just be change of venue. It's going to be a little easier on us. It's only an hour away from our range, so that makes life way easier for us. It does bring the match a little farther north, so our southern people, or Georgia, Alabama people, are going to have to, come just about an hour or so more north. But I think it's very, the topography is, in my opinion, um, I wouldn't say better than Clinton House, but it definitely is rival to Clinton House. It's very hilly. It has a lot of woods. It has a lot of natural terrain. They have several ranges that go out past 1,400 yards. Obviously, we're not using that for 3-gun, but we have a lot of areas where we can get out to 600 yards easy. Not saying every stage is going to be that, but it will be a lot like Fall Brawl at Clinton House, only we're not going over the same areas that every other match is there. We're using a totally new facility that's going to be in new areas, which is going to require a little more work on our part. We're going to have to cut in a few areas and work with them and do some stuff, but it's going to kind of give a fresh look to everything. I know with Donnie running all his matches at Clinton House, and then we come in and run a match, things get it's getting recycled a lot. It's a different stage or different look every year for different matches, but it's the same areas. It becomes to where you can only do so much. And it's
I
just
kind of look at it like, Peacemaker National Training Center, FNH match was a big thing back in the day. But there's only so much you can do there. And like I used to I used to go to matches out there once a month, and something that was like such a coveted place and ran a great match, it quickly, when you started running monthlies out there all the time, it's like there's nothing new you can do. Like it
it's
gets.
redundant.
Mhm.
And it's not to say
And
that we
that,
won't ever go back to Clinton House,
Mhm.
and it's going to
no,
be the same. We're going to do the same format that we do, the
nothing
same
changes other than the
2 hour
venue.
stage, the 2 hours for
Mhm.
each stage. The exact same format that we do Fall Brawl at the Clinton House is going to be Fall Brawl at Coleman's Creek. The same
The upside
feedback.
the upside to Coleman's Creek is it's like Gryphon Group in the sense of it's a one road. You stay on one road and you go to it takes you everywhere. Nothing, Clinton House, there's about 6 different roads, can take you in about 6 different directions, and people seem to get lost. That's why we have to put up all the signage out there just to make sure. And that's a job into itself. The upside to Coleman's is it is literally a straight road in, and you stay on the road, and the stages will be off the road. And it's just a straight road back out.
Now,
Um,
are the roads, I take it, all gravel? If weather
Gravel.
good, no issues getting in and out, and are they wide enough for traffic?
Yes, they are wide. They have spent tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of money on their roads. They are very protective of their roads. Now, getting off the roads, of course, that's something else, and we'll address that as we go. Again, this facility has done nothing but PRS, and PRS is a breeze to build because all you have to do is take a side by side or full wheeler, or if you don't have any of those, ruck out the steel and just set it out there and then build a shooting position. You don't have to do anything in between. 3-gun, you've got to build a stage, you've got walls, you've got whatever you're going to do, and you have to build the stage. So they don't have anywhere in the infrastructure that Clinton House has as far as that goes. However, it's only an hour away from our range as opposed to 4 hours, where I can go down for a day. I can make 2 trips to Coleman's Creek in the time it takes me to make 1 trip to and back to Clinton House. It's an 8-hour turnaround, there and back to Clinton House. It's 2 hours to Coleman's Creek. So for us logistically, it's an easier trek to get everything down there, to get everything back, to build. Just in general, it's going to be harder the first year, obviously, because there is zero infrastructure, but it's only an hour down the road. So I don't want to go too far into this. We were going to have plenty of time to talk about Fall Brawl, but I just wanted to cover that and say there's going to be a little bit of a change of venue for that. And again, it's nothing, just so it's out there, and I'm saying it's allowed. It is nothing that Clinton House did or anything like that. It's just logistically, it is closer for the topography and for what we can get there. It's almost identical to what we can get at Clinton House as far as topography and all the apparatuses and distances and terrain features and all this other stuff. We can get that at Coleman's Creek. So
We'll probably only
expect
blow
it to be.
probably only blow one trailer tire on the way over there instead of 3.
Maybe instead of 4 or 3. Yeah, 3.
What I like about it too is it's just even closer to me, so it just makes it easier getting down there, and
Yeah, for the guys up north, it's a little closer. But
It's closer to everybody but me.
Yeah, South Carolina, the southern people are gonna have to come up just a little bit farther north, but it's
It'll be all
we'll
right.
see. We'll see how it goes. It'll be our first year there, and they're excited for us to come in. We're excited to come in, and like I said, it gives because Donnie's running Tar Heel, then he'll be running Pro Am, and it'll be covering the exact same areas that we all just covered for the past 2 years. So it's just something different. I want to give you guys a different look. It's like Memorial. We're covering the same areas. That's why I'm trying to find new areas to give you guys a different look. So it's not the same thing every year. We got 2 big matches at Gryphon Group, which is Battle for the South, and then Memorial. And I'm trying to keep everything fresh for you guys. Just so it's not the same old.
No, makes
But
sense.
but yeah, expectation management wise, same thing as it's been in the past few years. We will have camping on site. If we need to, we can get a porta potty service to come in. If not, it'll be dry camping for the most part. So you'll be dry camping if you do camp on site. Otherwise, Laurinburg has hotels there, Comfort Inn, Hampton Inn, and Holiday Inn, I think, and a few others.
Or Airbnb.
Or you can get an Airbnb. I don't think there's a lot of Airbnbs around there, unless it's probably in a meth trailer. There's probably a good chance of that.
Sounds like a
So
good time.
it sounds like a party. Sounds like a party. But yeah,
Fayetteville's not too far away. Like Fayetteville's what, about 30
it's
minutes?
about an hour. It's an hour.
It depends on
Rayford's
where
about
you
30
are.
minutes. Which
Yeah.
part of Fayetteville you're in? If
Yeah.
you're I think it's the southern part of Fayetteville. The Rayford side, I think Rayford's like 35 minutes away.
Yeah.
But the hotels there are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I know the one that's on the back gate back there, it's like $250 a night. So they're pretty expensive. But if you call for your hotel for Battle for the South, if you mention that you're working or doing something at Gryphon Group and ask for the Gryphon Group rate, it'll be a little bit better. Comfort Inn
They're in
definitely has a
Laurinburg.
Gryphon Group rate in Laurinburg.
Yeah.
Ask for the Gryphon Group rate at Comfort Inn. I'm not sure if Hampton Inn has it. It might, but I know Comfort Inn does. They have a Gryphon Group rate. So I don't know how many of those they have, but there are some there. We will not be using the airplane. We will be staying on one side. We will not be using the other side, with the exception of maybe the awards. Other than that, we won't be using the other side at all. We will be doing the shoot-offs, and they open up, what is it, buddy, February 1st?
We had tried to decide if we were going to go with February or March. We had talked about February 5th, which I think is a Friday. Let me look.
What have you got them set up as? I'm not going to have anything on to see.
I'm absolutely not sure. But hang on, I've got them right here. I want to say I've got them set up now to open in the first weekend of March, but we can change that pretty easily.
I don't think I think February is a good amount of time. It gives people options. And then, obviously we're going to be coming back on here to cover the brackets for the shoot off. Yeah, and that'll be fun. Get Pat come back on here to talk shit to everybody.
Yeah, we'll probably look at doing February 2nd. I mean, that gives everybody 2 weeks. Or we could do the middle of February. We'll come out with a date and get it announced and get it out there.
Well, let's figure it out right now.
Figure it out right now? We can do the
Right
2nd
now.
to the 16th. If we need to give, people time to sign up. Or you got to be in
February
the
2nd.
match. You got to be in the match.
You got to be in the match to be in it. February 2nd, and you've got it set for 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, here's
No, correction. You got it set for 8 p.m.
Yeah, I got
Registration
set for 8 p.m.
opens 8 p.m. So February
You want to
2nd
do?
at 8 p.m.
All right, February 2nd, 8 p.m. it is.
Registration opens for the shoot offs. And it's the same as Fall Brawl. We're going to shoot Friday night, tack ops, ladies tack, and then regular tack ops. And then Saturday night will be
Open.
the modified and open. Yep.
which I mean, talking about that, I plan on doing the live stream again like we did at Fall Brawl, except even better, considering I figured out all the goods, the bads, and the uglies. So got a blue screen that I'm gonna set up to where it's gonna have all the sponsors for the match in the background, got better equipment, more better cameras. So it's just gonna be overall a better production, I think. It's gonna be
Awesome.
We're
fun.
also, along with the shoot off, just to let everybody know, we're going to have a side stage set up for the Duskin 3-gun match.
I was about to ask about side stages.
Yep, we're gonna definitely have one for the Duskin. We're working on some things right now. Tentatively, JK and I discussed it this past weekend. And again, this is just tentative. This isn't set in stone. We're gonna have a couple of high-end items that we're gonna basically every time you run it, you're gonna get a raffle ticket that's gonna go towards a couple of high-end items. And then the top shooter for each of the divisions. I don't know if it's top two or just the top shooter. Me and JK have to discuss that. They'll win another high end item of some sort. So we're trying to raise money for the Duskin. That's obviously the primary goal. Every single dime of this goes towards the Duskin Foundation or the Duskin 3-gun. And the Duskin, which is held at the second weekend of June, that's when all of that we'll go ahead as soon as we get all the money in from that weekend. I'll go ahead and transfer it over to whoever JK tells me to transfer it over to for the Duskin, and every single dime of that will go to that. So that's the plan for one of the side stages.
Nice.
Yep.
And it will be a physical Duskin stage.
What?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
It'll to represent Mike and the Duskin 3-gun and everything that it's there for, and what hopefully will represent what Mike would want.
No, I'm
So
excited. Me and JK been talking. We've been talking a couple times between last week and this week about Duskin. So that's gonna be he's got some good surprises.
yeah, he's so that's one of the side stages we're gonna have, and so we'll expect there to be a breaching stage. There'll be a breaching stage. I expect, what you normally expect out of our matches. We'll, especially
Look behind the
Gryphon Group,
barrels.
there will be, yep, look behind the barrels. Definitely, like Christy said, if there's a barrel there, go look behind it. Look behind the barrels. We're gonna have shooting out of vehicles. I'm sure we'll use the Huey for something. I like using as much as I can in different apparatuses. I like keeping you guys up off the ground out there because those ants are no joke. And we don't know if it's going to be like last year. We don't
It
know if
could
it's
still
going to
be
be.
pretty cool too.
Could be cold. It could be hot. You just never know. So try to keep you guys off the ground when you're shooting long range as much as I can. That's my goal. That's my plan. So anytime I have you going prone, you'll be in a vehicle or on something. That way you'll be up off the ground. I'm weird about that. I don't like to drag your balls through glass to shoot a 3-gun stage. I don't really believe you should do that for 3-gun. It's not what it's really for. But and then whatever each position, each long range position will be a different shooting apparatus, whether it be off a chain or a rope or a block or whatever the case may be. It'll be something different is my goal. So, but I mean, it's going to be the same tomfoolery you always have with us. It'll be try to make it as fun as I can. All the shenanigans we can get for you guys. That way, if anything, you walk away happy that you shot a good match and you had a good time. That's all we care about is you guys having a good time at the match.
Because what are we doing, Jason? We are selling entertainment.
Mm-hmm. We want you guys to have a good time. That's why it's very important for you guys to tell us what you truly think of the match. You know, what you want to see changed, what you want us to do, how you want us to do it. Obviously, I call them the Amazon reviews. You're going to have some people you just can't make happy. But, if I get something to where I get 3, 4, 5, 6 people saying, "Hey, I'd like to see this. Hey, I didn't like this," then we'll change it. We'll definitely take into consideration and change it and make it as best we can what you're looking for.
Yeah. So we want you guys
to at the end of the day, we can't make everybody happy, but we can try.
Yeah, agreed.
So that's
I'm excited.
You'll have
open.
Yeah, you'll have 3-gun jungle run. You'll have maybe a 2-gun jungle run. You'll definitely have a shotgun jungle run. That's a staple. 3-gun jungle run's a staple. It's going to be there. So it's just a matter of where I'm putting these said jungle runs.
You're going to have big movement stages, and you're going to have stages where you're going to be in a confined space shooting a lot of targets.
Correct. I know one of the complaints we had last year was we had all this space to use, and we put a little small stage. Yes, we have a lot of space to use, but sometimes those left and right limits I'm limited on. So in that small space, I have to control where you're shooting and where everything's going. So I have to make it in a small space, or there's a lot of long range targets on that stage, and I have to make the front end of the stage fast. So a lot of times when I build a stage like that, there are reasons and intent behind that. I think some of our reviews were, I think on stage 1 last year where we had the Suburban, it was such a small area in such a wide open space. Well, 50 meters to the right, there's a road. Yeah. And you go much past 180, you're getting really close to the road, way, 200, 300 meters down the way. So I have to really control what we have going on and what we have moving and where all the guns are pointing. So I really try to think of safety in that manner in anything like that.
Plus, if we're doing a stage with 9 long range targets, you're only going to have a little bit of shotgun and pistol in the front, so you can get out there and start all that long range.
Yep. So it's going to depend on how it plays out when I start building and what Gryphon Group's got going on. Depending on who they have on what ranges, kind of depends on where I can be. Now they only use 3 main ranges out there, so I can use just about everywhere. But one of those ranges where we had stage 1 last year for Battle for the South, they could have somebody down there at a range where I can't shoot that way. So I've got to find out from them who they have down there, if anybody, if we can put a stage shooting that direction. So it's really just, I won't know till I get there and build. The shoot off will be in that first range to the left and the 0 bay will be there. The 2,400 meter impact, that next stage over, that'll be a stage. The big bay, the big 200 meter bay, that'll be a stage. The blast bays, we'll make 1 or 2 of them a stage. Then there'll be jungle runs, and we're not going to use the tower. We won't go down towards the tower. We'll have a jungle run down that way, but we won't use the tower because that's another one. I saved that one for Memorial.
I think we need to do a zip line down the tower.
No, God Almighty, zip line. Yep. No zip line.
What's that Kevin Hart thing? No. Stop. No.
No.
I think I saw Swafford signed up, so he should have his food truck out there.
Swafford will have his food truck out there. As far as for the competitors, it'll be the normal thing, AM, PM, squatting, We're going to open that up soon. And we'll have the side stage, the Swaffers food truck. Pretty much that's it, guys. We're trying to,
We're not trying to
we're
reinvent the
focused.
wheel. I mean,
No,
we've been doing good with it. We want to keep people having fun.
yep. So we're gonna get your dope right on your long range. Practice wind wherever you can, because it's probably going to be windy. Just probably bet for that.
Probably going to have some 50, 60, 70 yard slug shots, some
Yeah,
pistol
normal
shots.
normal slug shots. Yep, normal
Yeah.
50-yard slug shots. Normal. Uh, I'm not gonna. I got a little kickback on the pistol shots for Memorial. They were allegedly a little sporty.
Which ones?
So out of the airplane.
Oh, yeah, they were a little sporty, but it's a major match.
So I'll take that into account. I listen. I hear what people say. I listen. So we'll try to reel that in a little bit, but it's gonna test you. It's gonna test your skills. Your local matches are to build the skills. Your major matches are to test those skills. So we're gonna get you out there and hopefully give you your money's worth, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it and put
If
together.
only we could have
Hopefully,
Jason Byerly at every local match to test those or build those skills.
Yeah, come to the locals.
yeah, yeah. But hey, there's other good match builders out there, and these
Oh, yeah.
guys they're trying,
Oh
and
yeah.
so get out there, shoot these local guys. We got to shoot these local matches. We got to keep shooting. You got to get your friends out here shooting. We got to get more people shooting. I think that's the biggest hindrance to our sport right now is um, we're struggling. There's no demand right now, which is good in a way because prices are slowly coming down. But when there's no demand, nobody sees it's critical to go out and shoot, and they're not shooting. So we need people out shooting. We need people out competing. We need to get these guys and girls, everybody out shooting. This is not gender specific. As RJ likes to say, I'm the transgender. So you know, let's get everybody out here shooting and let's have fun. And remember, these match directors are trying to do as best they can, and they're trying to put together everything they can and to give you guys a good time. But they can't fix what you don't tell them is broken.
Not
So
only
make
that, but
sure
not only that,
what I'm
but they need help. Some of them do, a lot of major or a lot of local matches are there. It's a volunteer basis. They don't get the support they need to build some of their local matches. So they go out there, do it time and time again, all by themselves with a skeleton crew, and they get burnt out over time.
they realize it's really really hard depending on like TRC is a good example. Is Sherb he's at TRC now doing some 22 matches, and he has to literally build the day before and tear it down the day after. And sometimes he's tearing down the day of. And I know a lot of matches and a lot of ranges are that way. They're just not big enough to host, a public competition and their member range. So everything is just done. I know they're like the TRC USPSA match they had, I think last weekend, when that storm blew through, it wiped because they had to build it on Friday and it wiped it out and they had to rebuild it that Saturday morning before the match. So, get out there, help these match directors on the local matches. Any input is better than no input. And what I was going to say earlier was even in the major matches, you pay attention to the match. Don't just blow sunshine up these match directors' butts. Tell them, hey guys, this was great. I think this was awesome. I think this can improve. Improve and it sustains. Give them ideas. Tell them what you think. Don't just blow sunshine up their ass. Tell them, hey, this was great. This stage was great. This part of this was great. But you could have, in my opinion, and don't say it in an assholeish way. Do it with, knit gloves and say, hey guys,
Professional.
professionally, hey, this is what I see. think about it like this. And when they hear it from multiple people, they'll start listening and they'll start maybe changing things. But they're not going to change anything if you don't tell them what you see and what you believe. So that's why I'll always say, and I know I repeat myself a lot when I say this, is I want to know the bad. I appreciate you telling me the good, but I would rather know the bad because I can fix the bad. I can change the bad. I can work on the bad, and I can fix the bad. And it helps me grow the match for you guys. If you don't tell me, if you don't want to tell me, or you don't like me, or whatever the case may be, go tell Buddy, go tell Sherb, go tell you, tell Matt, tell anybody, and they'll come up and let me know, and we'll address it. I have enough humility to understand when something needs to change. So, talk to me, talk to Buddy, talk to Matt, talk to whomever, and we'll address it and absolutely take it into consideration and change it. If we get enough people saying something, we'll definitely change it.
We've done it in the past.
So
we've
done it in the past, and we'll absolutely keep doing it. I've
To give
had
an example, I saw something, ball brawl. I noticed something, and it was because I had to reshoot one of the stages. And whenever Jason came over, I was like, "Hey, I think moving forward, this is how it needs to be." And Jason was like, "You're absolutely right," and he changed it. I mean, and that's what it takes. It just takes opening your mouth, voicing your opinion in a professional manner, and explaining the reasons why. And if you can, you know, do that, it's going to change for the better.
we have, and I haven't heard from it lately, but I did have one gentleman come up to me asking me something about changing something part of modified division. And I told him, I said, I'm willing to change it if you get enough people to approach me and have the same request you do. But if I'm not going to change it just because one or two people want me to change it. And it's going to be, you got to give me the why. Why should I change it? Why? What is the reasoning behind changing it? The same thing went from when I went from the carry optics division to the modified division. I had to have the why. And the why was because all the other major matches were doing it and people were asking for it. I had several people when we switched over from carry optics, which is this, to carry optics pistol and tac ops. The rest of the gear was tac ops, no bipod and no 12 round tube and all this jazz. It was a standard 8 round, or not round tube, but 8 in the tube and 1 in the chamber. But when I had multiple people asking me to change it, I sat down, me and Buddy sat down, we talked it through, we talked to some other people, and we ended up changing it, and it was for the better. And that was the why, and that's why we changed it. And we're willing to do that with most things, reasonable things. And again, the why matters. So when you come to me and you want something and you say, "Hey, I think it should be this way," when you come to me, have the argument as to why should it change? Why should I change this? Why should it be this way? And I will listen. I will 100% take into account what you say, and I will, have a thought process behind the reason why I do it or the reason why we don't do it.
Hey, real quick, got a question.
Mhm.
Does squatting for the main match itself also open on February 2nd?
Buddy, when's squatting open?
Let me look when we've got it set up for squatting to open. Give me just a second. Let's do we have it does Friday, February 2nd. And we
Yep.
may change that. Well, it's got it squatting open at 7 and
No,
the
it's
shoot off
fine.
opening at 8. Yeah.
Yeah, just leave it where it's at. Squatting opens at
Yep.
7, shoot off opens at 8.
Yep.
They'll all be on their computers at the same time, and that way it just makes it easier. We'll stick to the plan and whatnot. So yeah. But as far as
and let me hop in while we're talking about squatting. And it says in the on practice score, and also I want to tell that to people now. If you're probably when we open squatting, since the match isn't completely full, some of the squads are going to be, choked down a little bit to make sure that we get everybody, spread out evenly. If you have a squatting request, if you have a group of people that want to squad together, send me an email. and we'll get it fixed up for you.
Yep.
So
Don't.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of that for last year. If you have a group of people that want to squad together, please email Buddy at match@zoocityarmory.com, and he will communicate with you and work it out.
yes, and we can get all that stuff set up beforehand.
Now, that's not saying I want the entirety of the match to email Buddy right now and say, hey, this is what we want. I'm saying within reason, come on, guys, let's, again, we'll work with you as best we can. If you have a squatting, we'll absolutely work with you.
If you got 5 or 6 of you that are all traveling together, send me and I'll get you put together.
And we'll work it out as best we
reason
can.
why this is the best way to do it, if you have a squatting request, to do it now rather than later, is it's easier to put people in a group now rather than try and move
Fit you
people
around.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just creates a lot of chaos. But
So that was a good point, Buddy. Thank you for bringing that up. But we're going to we start building at the end of February. And with the exception of maybe the driving stage, I'll have it pretty much on the ground before the week of the main match is my hope.
And I'll plan on going down and doing some videos like we do.
We'll get some videos out.
Videos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know people like those.
Yeah. So we'll be getting that out, and just expect it to be one of our matches. Those of you that have shot our matches, it's going to be, one of our matches. We're going to let Buddy get out there and build some stages, and maybe him and I together might have half a brain. So, maybe.
Maybe.
And we'll see what we can throw down for you guys. It'll be my normal build crew. So like I always say, make sure you thank the main build crew, which will be Max Kogler, Sean Donnelly, and David Hoeing. They'll be going down with me for the most part. I know Roy Jeffreyon will be coming out more than likely. Jen Card will probably be coming out more than likely and helping. Make sure you're thanking these guys, and anybody else that has time that normally comes out and helps. We'll be putting that out there too. Make sure you thank these guys and these girls that are coming out, everybody that's coming out, because they do this. I don't pay any of them, so they kind of come out and help because they want to, and we greatly appreciate it. And we couldn't get it done without them. It helps having them there because it gives me somebody to bounce ideas off of instead of me out there by myself trying to build it and then walking back and forth between one wall at least 6 times trying to move it to the correct position. It helps to have a couple people out there moving stuff, nailing it down while I'm directing and stuff. So it's a big help helping. So make sure you guys are thanking them because I couldn't get this done without them. And Buddy on the back end, he does all the back end work and
literally thank him on the back end.
Not really work. I mean, it is the back end, so it's kind of Buddy thing, but it's not really work.
Not really work. Working is kind of a let's not go crazy with that.
Yeah, that's not really a word in his vocab.
It's me trying to make sense of the stages Jason builds and write stage briefs up. Which
the why.
A little challenging.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why? So we try to have fun when we're doing it. Yep.
That's why.
No, we're not bringing up an old name. Not many of you will know this. There was a gentleman that used to be at Tar Heel 3 Gun that his whole point in life was to fuck the shooter. And that's whenever he would build something, it was fuck them. That's why. So, yeah. Ron Backus. Ron Backus was his name. Mm-hmm.
Ron.
Yeah. So, no, we don't go out like that. It's, I want everybody to be able to do it. I want everybody from the last year to the first year to be able to complete the stage. That's my goal is I don't want anybody ever to time out. And if they time out, it's because their equipment or their dope isn't right. It's something on them and not something on the stage. I don't want the stage to make them ever time out. So, that's my goal when I'm building stages is I want everybody from, like I said, from the first place shooter to the last place shooter to have a good time and enjoy what they're doing and want to come back for more.
Awesome. Well, I think we kind of covered everything.
It's like a good
I
spot.
think we did too.
Yeah. But for everybody that listen,
What was that? Was that a rat?
It is. We now have 2 new puppies in the camper.
oh geez.
Oh Lord.
Is that dinner?
Yeah, no. It's
Oh,
not enough to eat.
hey, considering who Mama is, that might be dinner.
All right.
As somebody who has eaten a dog before, I will never eat it. Yeah, no thanks.
But I think we've got everything covered. If we don't, please email us at match@ZooCityArmory.com and
Yep.
we'll answer any questions you have.
And I'm gonna send out I'm probably going to send an email out to all the competitors about squatting and about squatting groups and all that stuff, and remind everybody that if they want to do that prior to squatting starting, we can get you taken care of.
And Hutch, if you're listening, no, not yet. You guys need to send that up to me. So, but yeah, if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, email us, text us, call us. Communicate with us, and we will get you guys
Fixed up.
squared away on whatever you need. Yeah, we'll get you squared away on whatever you need. Other than that, I really don't have anything else. We're going to do another podcast when we do the assigning of the shoot off, and we'll cover some more stuff then. Because by then, well, that'll be. When are we going to do that? When are we going to do?
Probably a month after. We'll let the shoot offs get full, and then we'll set a date where we're going to do the draws and all that.
March, sometime in March.
Probably sometime in March.
Yeah,
we'll probably do another one.
I'm guessing mid-March.
Yeah.
And if in mid-March, we're probably going to have some of the stages built anyway. We can kind of talk about the general plan of what we're going to have going on.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll have 3 or 4 by mid-March, if not more. Hopefully. But I still have to build a local match, so we'll see.
We'll see. So,
but if that's it, guys, I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Does anybody ask any questions or
no? That
anything
was
like that.
Yeah. Just one. But for everybody who listened, I appreciate you listening in. And if anybody does have any questions or concerns, just hit me up, hit Jason up, hit Buddy up. We're here to answer any questions, and we're looking forward to seeing you come April. So everybody have a good one, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.
See you guys.